Alright, so what do we have here? This is an Ellis, E-L-L-I-S, dividing head that I recently acquired. It's got a swivel base that allows you to swivel 360 degrees around, and you can also rotate this vertically or to any angle. I believe it's, let's see, past 90. Looks like you can go 100 degrees in this direction. I've taken some of it apart already because there's a little bit of surface rust on the chuck and on the bottom of the base. It has these pieces that go in here that will align the dividing head with your milling machine table. I've taken those off so that it sits, you know, on the table so I can do a little work on it. I've taken off the dividing plates, which are over here. It came with all three of the original dividing plates that came with this as standard, and it came with this, which has nothing to do with the Ellis head, but the seller included it. We also have two riser blocks. One is for the tailstock and one is for the dividing head itself, to raise it from, let's see, that's a, I believe it's a 6.5 inch model. The problem with this is that here's the tailstock that came with it. I've taken the hand wheel off, but you can see that the riser block is the riser block for this tailstock. However, this riser is not the riser for the swivel base. This is in fact the riser for the standard base that used to come with the Ellis head, which I don't have. When Ellis sold these, they sold them with both the swivel base and the standard base, which did not allow for tilting the head vertically or swivel. It was simply a straight base with the same footprint as this riser block. So this riser block right now can't be used with the swivel base, and the tailstock, so the tailstock, as you can see, does not match up with the center of the swivel base. So I'm going to have to make a riser block that will match up with the center line of the dividing head. All right, the dividing head here came with this chuck and a precision ground backing plate. This back plate has a serial number that matches the Ellis head, and this is a to my surprise. This is a Buck Chuck Company chuck. It's model 1443. AccuTrue. And this is a 4-inch, I believe it's 4-inch. See? Yep. This is a 4-inch chuck, and the cost of this chuck alone today far exceeds what I paid for the entire head with the chuck. So I think I got a really good deal. If you look up a Buck Chuck Company chuck, the same number, 1443, you'll find out what this little chuck is worth. It's got some surface rust on it. Nothing too severe here. I'm just going to clean this up. And got some surface rust on the bottom. I'm just going to clean that up. I'm not going to take the whole dividing head apart. There's no need for that. It runs very well, very tight. But I've done a lot of research on this after I got it, and I think I can provide anybody who's interested in one of these or who has one of these with some information you may not know. So, okay, so here we have an index plate with 12 holes, and up here you have a pointer, or I don't know what you really call it, but you can put that into any one of the holes and any divisions by 12, so you have 2, 3, 4, 6 divisions that you don't need to use index plates on. You can disengage the worm gear and rotate this freely, and I'll show you how to do that later in the video. So right now I'm just going to clean up the chuck, clean up the base, and then we're going to put it back together, and I'll show you some of the features of the Ellis. Now, one of the things that makes this a very desirable head is it's really compact. It's not very tall. The entire head is less than 8 inches high. It doesn't weigh all that much. You don't need a gantry to get it onto your milling machine. So I've been looking for one of these for a long time, and when this opportunity came by, I just jumped on it, and I'm real happy. Well, let's just start by cleaning up the chuck. That won't take very long. I'm not going to take this whole thing apart. It's got the scroll operates on a 1/4 inch square. I have a 1/4 inch square in my drill, and I can take those jaws out just like that. I'm just going to take some Scotch-Brite and take off that surface rust. That's pretty much all I need to do with that. It looks pretty good. Okay, let me get the compressor turned on. I want to blow this out before I put it back together. to put a little bit of this is what we used to call Tullis oil. I don't know if they still sell that or whatever, but it's whale oil. Just get some lubrication in there. All the jaws look pretty good. Just clean them out with a little bit of Scotch-Brite. All right. Get the jaws back in. I'm pretty sure that all you guys out there know how to put jaws in a scroll chuck, but you got numbers 1, 2, and 3. And on some chucks, they number it. 1, 2, and 3. So what you do is we look in here. This is jaw number 1, and if you look at the scroll, see that? Where the scroll starts? You bring it back just past where it starts. Put in scroll number 1, jaw number 1, turn it till it engages, and then go to number 2 and look for the start of the scroll. There it is, see it? So, put in jaw number 2. There, we got it. And then go to jaw number 3, and see, that's where it starts. Put in jaw number 3. Okay. All right, we got them all back in the scroll. Yeah. Simple enough, right? Before I put the jaw back, the chuck back on, I want to take this plate off and see if it needs any cleaning up. Everything is such close tolerances on this thing. Dead blow hammer. Boy, that's tight. Shoo. Almost feels like it's pressed on. There we go. I think we're getting it. Ah! Phew. Boy. Why does it have to be that tight? Yeah, let's take a look. Yep. We can take a look here. Yeah, we can tilt 100 degrees in the opposite direction also. So not much rust or anything on here. I'll just give it a quick once over. All right. It's got a something hit it, created a lump there on the metal. I'm gonna take that off. Just gonna take a file. Take that down. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, gotta get it back on. I suspect that I've got to get it really well lined up. That looks pretty good. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. All right. That's good. Now, let's just get this rust off the base. Here's the serial number is again 2325. It's again stamped into the swivel base. Okay. It says 82325. It says 82325 on this piece. It says 825 on the chuck mounting plate. So everything on this head seems to be original. I think that's good enough. Doesn't feel like there were any burrs or anything on it. All right. There's a bit more rust here. Comes right off. I'm just going to go over the scale a little. It's really in good condition. All right, now some of the other features here. This is the lock, spindle lock. If you want to lock it up before you do your milling. Let's put the chuck back on. Before I do, I'm going to clean the threads. All right, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these tools or not, but this is a tool with, it's a spring, and it's got two little dog points on it, or sharp points on it anyway. And you take it in the chuck and you put it into the threads, and then whoop, get it even, and then you just unscrew it. And what it does is it cleans out any chips that might be in the threads. Take a look at this, make sure there are no metal chips. And put a drop of oil on it, on the threads. This thread starts there. It should go on. There we go. Now, take a piece of wood. That should do it. All right. Now let's put this back together. I gotta pick, the sector plates. They're all in pretty good condition. This one's got some light rust on it and comes right off. I'm not sure, I could put any one of these plates on because I don't know what I'll be using the head for next, but I'm going to put the 20 to 15 on it for the time being. Okay, so this tube is a very good fit. Goes on with 3 screws. Next. What's next? The sector plates. They got to go on next. Let's clean them up. There we go. And then this tiny little key goes in here, like that. And we have the spring, a little oil on that. It goes up there like that. It registers on the key. And then we have this piece, which goes and registers on the key. That makes more sense. And then this. Okay. Now we don't need it that tight. Yes, you want the sector arms to rotate freely. Very good. Then you have the crank, so we can just set that anywhere we want right now. And then this cap, and then the nut. There we go. Ah, beautiful. Make it as tight or as loose as you want, really. So when you want to adjust the sector arms, you set them, and then you just tighten this set screw with a screw. All right. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to show you one of the features of what Ellis used to claim was unique about their dividing head, and that is that you can freewheel this so that you can use the indexing plates. Let me just come out a little bit. All right. On top here you have 2 set screws. This set screw closest to the indexing plate adjusts the back side of the worm, and the front one pushes the worm down into the worm gear. So if you loosen this set screw, if you take it out, about 3/8 of an inch. You can then push this plate forward like that, and it bends down. It disengages the worm gear, and now this turns freely, and you can use the indexing pin to make divisions without having to use the dividing head, the sector plates and all of that. And if you don't change the adjustment on the front screw, all you have to do is bring this screw back down, making sure that you engage the worm as you go down so that it engages. Like that. You just very slight pressure on it, and now all the backlash is back out. You can see that this head is extremely precision. You can't move the worm at all without the head moving once it's adjusted correctly. And end play in the worm gear itself can be adjusted back here on this collar. There's a set screw. You loosen the set screw, you put a spanner wrench in the holes, and you can take out the end play. So, an extremely precision built piece of equipment here. And I'll give it a little oil. Probably hasn't seen oil in a long time. There's an oil up here under a ball bearing. All right. A little coating of oil on it at some point. Now, it also came with another precision ground plate that would replace this 12-hole indexing plate that the user can drill out themselves and place it on there if you have, some special indexing requirements, I suppose. So anyway, there you have it, the Ellis indexing head. I'm very happy that I was able to find one, and that the buyer, or the seller rather, didn't quite know how good a condition this was in or what it was worth. But as I said in the beginning of the video, this chuck, even used, cost more than I paid for the entire thing. Now, as I said in the beginning, my problem is that I don't have the riser blocks for this thing. The taper on the spindle is a Brown & Sharp 9, number 9, and they're not so easy to come by. So, there you can see the difference in heights. So I have to make a riser block to get this tailstock up to that point. Alright, that'll be another video. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you own an Ellis head, you might have learned something from it. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.